Meditations for every day in the year by Bishop Richard Challoner. August 3rd. On a miserable eternity. Consider first that what, above all other things, makes hell intolerable is the eternity of its torments. It is this eternity that is an infinite aggravation to all and every one of them. It is this bitter ingredient which makes every drop of that cup of the divine vengeance, of which all the damned are forced to drink, so unsupportable. Were there so much as the least glimpse of hope that the miseries of the damned should one day have an end, though it were after millions of ages, hell would be no longer hell, because it would admit of some comfort. But for all these inexpressible torments to continue forever, as long as God shall be God, without the least hope of ever seeing an end of them, oh, this is it. This it is that is the greatest rack of the damned. O eternity, eternity, how little do worldlings apprehend thee now! How unwilling are they to believe thee, notwithstanding the express declaration of God's unerring word, for fear thou shouldst put a restraint upon their vicious inclinations. Oh, how terrible wilt thou be to them hereafter, when they shall find themselves engulfed in the bottomless abyss! Consider secondly, if one short night seems so long and tedious to a poor sick man in a burning fever, if he tosses and turns and nowhere finds rest, if he counts every hour and with so much impatience longs for the morning, which yet will bring him but little relief or comfort, what must this dreadful night of eternity be in the midst of all the pains of hell? No man in his senses would purchase a kingdom at the rate of lying for 10 years confined to a soft bed without once coming off. Ah, what a misery then must it be to be chained down to a bed of fire, and such a fire as that of hell is, with all the rest of its torments, not for 10 years only, not for 10,000 times 10 years, but for as many 100,000 million of ages as there are drops of water in the ocean or atoms in the air. In a word, for a never-ending eternity. Consider thirdly, in order to frame a better idea of this miserable eternity, what an immense space of time would be required for any one of the damned if he were to shed but one tear in 1,000 years, to shed tears enough to fill the sea. The world has not yet lasted 6,000 years, so that the first of all the damned would not have shed 6 tears. And yet, O dreadful eternity, the time will most certainly come when any one of these wretches shall be able with truth to say that at the rate of 1 tear for 1,000 years he might have shed tears enough not only to make a sea, but to drown the whole world, and to fill up the vast space between heaven and earth. And yet, alas, after these millions of ages, he shall be as far off from the end of his misery as he was the first day he came into that place of woe. Compute after this, if thou pleasest, as many 100,000 millions of years as thy thoughts can reach to. Suppose, if thou wilt, the whole surface of the earth to be covered with numeral figures. Cast up, if thou canst, this prodigious sum of years, and then multiply it by itself, and multiply again a second time the product by itself, and then at the foot of this immense sum right down here begins eternity. O terrible eternity, is it possible that they who believe should not fear thee? Is it possible that they who fear thee should dare to sin? Conclude ever to fly with all thy power for the time to come all such sins as lead to this miserable eternity, and as to thy past guilt, to take the best care thou art able to wash away now all the stains of thy soul in the blood of the Lamb, by the means of a hearty repentance and sincere confession. Penitential tears are capable of effacing those stains at present, which everlasting flame shall never be able to burn away hereafter.